Hi, thank you. My name is Erica with the Poindexter Real Estate Group. Today, I am launching episode 6 of Leaving California, and I have my referral partner in Reno, Jordan. Jordan is a trainer at his office, and he's also with Keller Williams. He runs a small team there. And he's been a great partner, knowing that my folks here from Sacramento, Placer County, tend to go to Reno pretty often because it's a great commute, easy commute back over the hill and back home if they need to be here for something or work or whatever. So with COVID, I know I've talked to everybody about this as I've built this series. And basically what I'm finding is, especially the tech industry here, is being told that they can work from home indefinitely, and that is allowing them to go move to a location that they prefer to live. And I think with Reno, if for some reason they have to pop back into the city, go to the Bay or Sacramento, it's possible. So they're not completely disconnected from the world they came from. So Jordan, tell me a little bit about you and the market, and then we'll show off some properties.
Yeah, so thanks for the introduction. Thanks for having me on. I'm from California. Actually, I'm an expat myself. I moved from the Bay Area in 2012, and I've been here now ever since, and I love it. You know, I was, I guess, ahead of the curve a little bit. I saw kind of the writing on the wall. I was working actually in San Francisco and just got tired of the commute, and it was just getting to be too much. So I had an opportunity to move out this way and did. And, you know, our market right now, fortunately for me, so I got into real estate in 2014 and it's just been uphill ever since. So I've been pretty fortunate. But, you know, I've also talked to agents that went through the last crash and know that it's not always sunshine and roses. So, you know, I'm trying to take advantage of the market that we've got right now and make the most of it. Our market's pretty hot right now. We've got about 0.6 to 0.7 months of inventory. And for, you know, people out there that don't really know what that means, basically, you know, a balanced market, we would consider 4 to 6 months of inventory. So that's, you know, buyers and sellers are kind of on an even plane. Anything over 6 months is a buyer's market, which means there's a lot of, you know, homes on the market. They're not moving as quickly. And then anything under 4 months, we would consider to be a seller's market. So we're kind of in like a hyper seller's market right now here. We're seeing a lot of growth with prices. We're seeing a lot of multiple offer situations. Fortunately, a lot of people that are coming from California are selling in higher markets, so they are able to maybe bring a little bit of extra cash to the table in case there's appraisal issues, or they're just flat paying cash. And, you know, while people say cash is king, it doesn't necessarily give you a huge discount, but if you're going head to head with a loan, you're pretty much going to win hands down. So yeah, it's a little bit about our market. And what else you got?
Yeah, so we're seeing kind of we're seeing similar. So if the Bay Area is moving to Placer County to get a little more space, and then Placer County is leaving and going out of state, it seems to be the trend of that. It's kind of the same thing. I mean, and we've had that kind of Bay Area money flooding into here for a while now, and it's always hard, right? So people here are like, well, you know, I'm never going to win against cash, but I think if you've got somebody on your team that can help you negotiate, help you position your offer, build a relationship with that listing agent, you have an opportunity. It doesn't mean it's completely going away. And our inventory, I think we're at we're 0.6. I have to look it up. It's really low. We're about half, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks worth of inventory. So
wow,
it's tight. And that's part of the reason for this series. So if people are thinking about leaving the area, we need the listings.
Yeah, I know. That's like all of my effort right now is just like racking my brain of like, you know, how to find sellers in the market, and whether it's they're selling, you know, an income producing property or they're moving out of the area. Cause there's a lot of people here that, you know, been in the Northern Nevada market for a long time and they hate all the Californians coming. And so now they're looking to move to Idaho. It's like everybody's just kind of pushing towards the center. You touched on a really good point, is a lot of buyers are getting frustrated in this market. And we've had clients just kind of bow out. And sometimes, we try and set the expectation. We tell them, look, you're financed, you're first time home buyer. It's going to be a little rough out there. We're going to do everything we can to position you, whether that's, making a video to send to the sellers and try and tug on the heartstrings, whether it's trying to get them, maybe the sellers would appreciate a rent back if they're moving as well. So trying to get creative, but just telling them flat out too, we're probably going to miss out on one or two, and that's just going to be a part of the process. And hopefully just keep them in the game long enough, because when the market's this tight, it does become kind of a numbers game. But our pricing here is still really competitive compared to California. And for me, growing up in the Bay Area, my experience and kind of view on Reno is kind of trashy, because back then it was like you go downtown and it's all the casinos, and you're a kid and you see homeless people and you're like, wow, why would I want to move to Reno? And when I first moved out to Northern Nevada, I was living in Incline Village, which is North Lake Tahoe, which is beautiful. And even then I was like, Reno. But I met my now wife, and I was going over the hill to see her on my days off and hang out, and started to see kind of outside of the downtown core. And it's incredible here. I mean, we've got so much. If you love the outdoors, and similar to Placer County, we've got Truckee River that runs right through downtown. We're 45 minutes to an hour. There's, parts of Reno where you're 30 minutes from Lake Tahoe. So we've got a lot of great things nearby. And, once you kind of get outside that core, and there's still a lot to do downtown. Obviously, COVID's kind of changed that as far as like the bars. There's definitely a scene in our midtown area is really popular with kind of young professionals, and a lot of good restaurants and bars down that way. So I think we've got a lot of kind of what people would like in the city, but we've also got the opportunity to kind of have that more suburban kind of living. So it's cool.
Yeah,
I really like it out here.
I think that's why it does make a good transition from Placer County. I mean, you can get to downtown Sacramento from here is 30, 45 minutes, and there's cool bars and the whole city scene. And Sacramento itself is definitely trying to be a bigger city. And so you can get to those things pretty easily, or you can stay in Placer County and go hiking and biking and get to Tahoe. We all love the Truckee River. So that was a huge thing over the summer with COVID. A lot of people I saw were going up to Truckee and doing rafting and stuff, more so than I had seen before. And so that's really fun. And I think that's what makes it a good transition for people who want to leave California but don't want to go too far away. So properties, if you want to show off some of the properties that we talked about. So I like to pick 500,000 because the median home price in Placer County is about 500,000 right now. And so then we can compare apples to apples, sort of. I thought about switching it to median home prices in the area, but 500,000 is fun to look at, so we've stuck with that.
Sounds good.
So the first property is, let me get out of the pictures here. So 524, this is Peavine Valley Road in Reno. So tell me, compared to downtown Reno, like where we're at.
So this is my hood. I live up in Northwest Reno. I love it mostly because of kind of the terrain. So we're at the bottom of like Peavine Mountain. So there's lots of kind of rolling hills, a lot of opportunities for great views of the Sierras to Peavine. Like my house, we back up to open space, so it's pretty cool. This house in Peavine Valley here is right outside of Somerset, which is like a big master plan kind of golf community. This is not my listing. The pictures would be much better. Sorry, listing agent. But
sorry, listing agent. I thought the same thing. It's fine.
I chose this one. We don't have a lot on the market, so it's hard to find something that's actually. And these three were, as of yesterday, active and available. But this one, you can see it backs up some open space. You can see Peavine Mountain there. So it's really cool. I like this area a lot. And then that picture there is showing the Sierras. This picture was back when we had more smoke. We've cleared up quite a bit, which is nice. So yeah, and our median price in Reno last month was $460. So this is just above the median. But as far as kind of within the Reno core, this Northwest area, as far as affordability, having convenience. So there's lots of like shopping and restaurants still close by. and being close to the major freeways, I think is really the most bang for your buck. And then it's got really good schools that it's zoned for, highly desirable schools, I should say.
Yeah. So, I mean, Placer County has some of the best schools in California. So I think that that's important to note, because people are looking for a similar education for their kids and not knowing what that's like somewhere else. It's important that, I'm able to refer them to somebody who knows what that's like. So 6731 Quantum Drive, 515. This is bigger than the last one. Hold on. I want to see.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a little bit bigger. Yeah, a little bit bigger than the last one. And newer, yeah? So where is this compared to, this is Sparks?
This is Sparks. So it's an area called Wingfield Springs. It's another kind of master planned community. There's 2 golf courses out there, shopping center. Not a huge mall type shopping center, but shopping center where you got your Starbucks, your Pete's, your grocery store, a couple restaurants, gas stations, all that. So there's still a lot of stuff there. This is kind of like an area that's becoming more popular because more quickly than other areas. And that's because it's got a lot more bang for the buck. So really nice, newer homes. You're getting a lot of square footage. And this one is my listing. So pictures a little bit better. We did some virtual staging. The sellers moved out of the house, and they're actually moving out of state too, moving to, where are they going to? Montana, I believe. So yeah, it's an area that's becoming more popular. And yeah, so the area out there is cool. It's a little bit farther though. So if you're trying to, work downtown, you're probably looking at 30 minutes, 35, 40 minutes to get into town. Just kind of depends on traffic. But if you're working remote, it's a great location because you got everything you need out there and you get a lot of house.
And a home theater.
So that's virtual staging too.
That looks good. That looks really good. Yeah, no, the home theater is cool. I was looking at the listing description, and yeah, you could change it back, but I think somebody who's getting this much house, I mean, if it's not going to be a home theater, it's going to be a game room or something for the kids where they're going to video game anyways. So
yeah, because you've got 4 other dedicated bedrooms. So you've got a lot of bedrooms already. It's a cool flex space to kind of have room for, whether you're watching a game or gaming.
Okay.
And they got a little horseshoe pit on the side there that they put in.
I like this. This is pretty. This is super
pretty. The 3-car garage.
And some of ours, we see, I don't know if you see this in some of the newer builds, but you have the option when you're buying the new build, if you want that 3rd garage to be granny unit or, mother-in-law suite or whatever it is. A lot of our builders are doing that multi-generational thing with that space.
Yeah, we a lot of our builders that we have out here don't do that high level of customization. We are seeing a lot of casitas and in-law suites. We're actually moving personally, and we're buying a house out in Verdi, which is just a little bit west, actually even closer to California. But yeah, that's got an in-law suite with a separate entrance, and so we're pretty excited about that. But a lot of the home builders, they're trying to get the product out there as quick as they can because they know the inventory is so low. And frankly, they don't need to offer a lot of customization because people are willing to buy the houses, how they put them out there. Some of the higher end ones though definitely do that. I think more often what we'll see is kind of a flex room. So it can either be a bedroom or a den office. And no, that's about it.
Yeah, our builders, it's all sold out.
Yeah.
So for 510, this is Reno again, but how far from Reno? This is 1,800 square feet in an older house. So is this closer to city?
Yeah, so this is an area called Hidden Valley. It's really nice, usually larger lots, a little bit older community. It is west of, so we have kind of freeways. So there's 395, which goes north-south, and then I-80, which everybody knows. This is south of 80 and east of 395. And a lot of cool community out there. It's, like I said, bigger lots, more mature. A lot of people toys like it out here because there's lots of room for RVs and side by sides. Nevada, we love our toys, so that's always a big plus is if there's room for RVs or the boats, the side by sides, and a lot of ranch houses out here.
We like our toys too. Actually, a lot of my clients that are moving into the area from the Bay or something like that, they're all asking for RV storage and parking because they all want to get into that camping. And I've noticed a lot of people buying more RVs this year just on my Facebook feed than I've seen ever before. And I would assume COVID, so you can't go on vacation, but if you've got an RV, you can go camping, at least take your family somewhere. And I see a lot of people doing it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, we got a small travel trailer last year. It was kind of in the works before COVID, so I can't attribute it to that, but I have talked to people who were looking to purchase, and most of the RV dealers in town, I mean, they're having a real hard time keeping stuff in stock. So they've definitely seen a big uptick, and it's exactly what you touched on. They want to still go on vacation and, have that option to get out of town. And it's great. And it's a lot of fun. Like we stayed our first like real RV park where you've got your water, sewer, electricity hookups, and you basically got a mobile hotel, and it's a blast. It's fun.
We've thought about it, but I don't own a truck, so I'd have to get a truck, and then so I'm like, that's an investment for us. But where are the best like camping spots close by? So do they go to Lake Mead? Do they go to Tahoe? Like, where's the coolest spot?
Tahoe is great. It's really populated though, and it's hard to get spots. So you've usually got to kind of plan it out a lot more in advance if you want like a good spot in the summer. We just went out to like Portola area, Gray Eagle. That's where we went last, and it was a real good time. There's lots of places where you can like boondocks, so where you don't have actually power and water, so you just gotta kind of manage your consumption. But we've got like Boca Reservoir, which is just in California right there. So we go into California quite a bit. Funny enough.
Yeah, when we come
east
see
of here
you.
is really flat and really dry. So we like to get out in the woods and yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that before we came on. So I was like, am I missing an interview between Reno and Vegas? And there's not. And you said there is a lake community out there somewhere but
there's
nothing really.
Topaz Lake. It's actually on the border of California and Nevada. And there's some small communities between here and Vegas, but there's no major, population centers between us. And, heading east from here, you got to like Elko, and that's probably the next biggest kind of city before you hit Utah.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about how about this? So if somebody from Placer County is moving to Reno, what's their biggest surprise? That's a good question.
Ooh, that is. What's the biggest surprise?
I just came up with it right now.
So, Reno's nickname is the biggest little city. And I think when you do get here, so there's Reno and Sparks. And the way I always tell people to try and imagine it is if you're familiar with like Scottsdale and Phoenix, is when you're flying in, you can't tell where one ends and one begins. And that's pretty much how Reno Sparks is. So it looks, I don't know, for me, after being here for 8 years, it looks kind of big, like when I fly in. So it still has that big city feel, but you will be surprised at how many people know each other and how easy it is to run into people. And, there's like 2 degrees of separation between everybody. So I guess that could be a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, man, I don't know. That's a tough question. I'm trying to think when I first moved here, I think I was most surprised just by how like beautiful it was. There's a lot of mature landscaping, a lot of trees. Like I love kind of the old Southwest part of town. Because a lot of those homes have been there since like the 50s and 40s. So there's a lot of charm and character, and it's really pretty. Yeah, that's probably it.
It is really pretty. And I had friends that moved to Reno a couple of years ago, and we didn't even go into. I never had been to Reno either, unless I went to downtown Reno. Yeah. And their house like was backed up to some of those mountains, or it was an apartment, but it was beautiful. I was like, hey, wait.
Yeah.
It's really pretty out here.
it doesn't help when a lot of if you've never been here, you watch the shows like Reno 911. Like that's not what Reno looks like. I mean, there's some pockets where you probably would prefer not to be, but every metropolitan area is going to have that. But another thing that I forgot to mention that is really cool that I didn't learn till I moved here is in the summer, obviously outside of COVID, there are like events every single weekend. Like there's a big rib cook-off, which is like world famous. Everybody knows about Hot August Nights, which is a big car show, classic cars. There's hot air balloon races. There's the air races. I mean, there's pretty much every weekend there's something that you can do in the summertime here, some big event. So it's pretty cool.
Because you have the room to do it, all the open space to do it. That's cool. I wanted to go to the hot air balloon races before. Haven't done it yet, but maybe if it's open in 2021, I should put it on my list.
Yeah.
So one thing, and I talked to Christina last week about this in Vegas, is taxes. So what crossing the border means in taxes to you was what? You said a 10% bump in your income?
Yeah. So before I got into real estate, I used to do executive security. So basically personal security for high net worth individuals. And I was working in San Francisco, and there was a team up in the north part of Tahoe that had an opening. And I didn't really have anything aside from, my family, but I didn't have, wife, girlfriend, kids, any of that stuff. And I said, heck yeah, let me go. And yeah, it worked out to probably about a 10% pay increase, not having to deal with traffic, lower cost of living. So it was a huge bump just in lifestyle. And, I'm always a huge believer of just kind of rolling with the punches. And I just kind of came out here and I said, let's make it work. And, I did that for 3.5 years, and I decided I want to get into real estate, and that was a great decision as well. And so everything's worked out really well, and just try to make the best of every opportunity. And the taxes here are phenomenal. I mean, we don't have any state income tax. Our property taxes don't reassess, which I'm sure Californians will love. And when I talk to people that are thinking about coming out here, we have, it's based off the age of the home. So we have these older neighborhoods, like in old Southwest Reno, which I mentioned, homes in the 50s. You have a home that's worth $600,000-$700,000, and they've got like a $1,400 a year tax bill. It's crazy.
Because it's based on the neighborhood, not what the house sold for?
Yep.
Hear my shock in my voice? I don't understand that.
I know. You'd probably need like a PhD in math to calculate how they do the taxes here. But yeah, it just incrementally goes up with inflation, and it's based off of when the home was built, and it does not reassess. So if you bought it $700,000, your property tax isn't going up. And meanwhile, you could buy a brand new home, and you'd have like a $5,000 or $6,000 tax bill on a $550,000 house. So it's all based on the age of the home.
Huh.
As of this recording. So who knows?
Yeah, as of this recording, right? Well, I learn something new every single time I talk to somebody, which I find I love. And I thought of something. Oh, so one thing we didn't talk about before we sign off is you do work the Nevada side of Tahoe. So I recently had a client who bought on Placer County side with my MLS. It's like its own little pocket up there. And so I actually don't serve up there. And so it's great to have people who do, because we have, a lot of my clients want vacation rentals, or they want to have their own little vacation spots for their family and that kind of thing. So it's not uncommon for us to have second homes up there. So what does that look like on the Nevada side, on the short version?
Yeah, there's a lot less supply. So on the Nevada side of the lake, it basically runs from Crystal Bay and Klein Village, which is right next to Kings Beach, down to State Line at South Lake Tahoe. So where the casinos are, and everybody who's been to South Lake knows. It's really two different kind of dynamics. So North Lake is a lot more, I'd say, like family and kind of relaxed. South Lake, college, that's where we always used to go to party. There's lots of hotels, Airbnbs, although South Lake on the California side has kind of cut out a lot of those. But yeah, so those are the two main areas. And we do have two different MLSs, multiple listing services, and I'm on the board for both. So there's one for Incline Village and Crystal Bay. And then in our Northern Nevada regional MLS, which also covers Reno, Carson City, Minden, Gardnerville, those are all on there. So we've got access to both of those. We personally own a property up in Incline Village, and we do Airbnb out of that. And that's one thing to note is Washoe County, which is where Incline Village and Crystal Bay, they've said flat out they have no intentions. They're not going to block Airbnbs. They're working on how to permit them, how to make them safe, and how to kind of incorporate them and make it a win-win. So that's one thing that's nice. Yeah, is if people are, and we purchased it with the intention of doing the Airbnb because we want it to be at least cost neutral. And it's actually been, producing income, which is really nice. And we've got a really strong market up there. And I find tenants are a little bit better that are staying in those Airbnbs because it's usually not as big of a party scene.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about Tahoe, like I said, but we can't find anything. So you can get a 30-day rental, and I don't know if that has to do with COVID or just their norm, but yeah, you can get 30 days up there on an Airbnb, but you can't get anything else.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah, I don't know
my
about it.
client bought a condo in Truckee, so it's she right on the ski hill thing. I don't know. Like I said, I don't ski. I'll go to Tahoe for the weather in the summer and the scenery, but I do not ski, nor do I like the snow.
So I got to plug Incline Village because they have what's called IVGID, Incline Village General Improvement District. So if you buy an Incline Village, and I guess I'll start with this, Incline Village is more expensive than the other parts of Tahoe. The reason being is it's got a little bit more of an exclusive feel. They have 3 private beaches, which you get access to. You get discounts on the golf courses. There's 2 golf courses, Championship and the Mountain Course. And we're talking heavy discounts. You get discounted lift tickets to Diamond Peak, which is the ski resort that's there. I think you get $25 lift tickets, which if you do ski, that's like nothing.
It's cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculously cheap. And that was last season, so we'll see. It might be a little bit more this year, but there's a lot of cool amenities that kind of come along with it. One of the private beaches, Burnt Cedar Beach, we always go there, even if we're not staying in Incline. They've got a pool, they've got food, drinks, the private beach. It's a playground. It's really cool spot. So I love it there. It's a great place to have a vacation spot.
So if we're gonna Airbnb, we should do Incline Village, is what you're saying.
I think it's a great market for that. Price point's higher, but I think you make it up with kind of what attracts people to that area.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And I try to keep these around 30 minutes because people watch them. And I don't want to keep them all day, and I can ask tons of questions. I could talk forever, but I want to thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today and taking care of my clients when I send them to you. We've worked together a couple of times, and my clients rant and rave. So I really, really appreciate it. And if you need anything at all, let me know, and I will continue to send people over the hill.
I appreciate it, Erica. Thank you. It was good chatting with you. I think this is definitely our longest conversation we've ever had. It's usually a little more short, so it's kind of good to.
Yeah, we're usually I think as agents we're like to the point and moving on to the next thing usually anyway. So
one sentence, go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thanks
and
again.
Erica's helping my aunt right now, so I speak very highly of her. So thank you, Erica. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, and have a good rest of your day.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.